Good afternoon. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. At this time, could you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, is there any public comment? Yep, go ahead and come up and take a seat. It'll be the little red button at the bottom of those microphones.
There's the little red button.
That one's on, so you should be good to go.
This one.
Yep, that one's on. You can use
That
that
was
one,
on.
yeah.
Okay. My name is Rebecca Dugan. I'm on the board of the CAPS, the Churchill Animal Protection Society, and we're kind of fact-finding right now, and I know you can't comment. We read the paper that you're having budget cuts, and after, I taught school for 30 years, I know about budget cuts and understand that. But we're kind of hoping to get some direction of, if you're going to cut the building, are you going to be able to help us out refurnishing our building? We just had somebody come out for heating, and they're talking $20,000 for fixing that. We still have the kennel floors. We've ranged from $20,000 to $40,000 on getting those fixed. And we need, our well also is horrible. So we're just trying to figure out where you're at, so we know where we need to do or not do, because obviously we are hurting. So, and I'm not sure how, I know you have, yours is waiting for budgets and bids and all that, but, so we're hoping just to get some direction.
Joe, could you go ahead and take this one?
Sure. I know that there's been some communication with the county manager's office in terms of what the budget would potentially look like as it reflects to your building. I'd suggest you at least start there. And then most likely what will occur is there'll be a plan developed for the new budget with either the new building or potentially refurbishing or pieces of your update or not, depends, I think, on what the budget numbers are. But that is where things are looking and where you should start.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move over to posting of the agenda.
Pam Moore, for the record, the agenda was posted on April 11th between the hours of 1 and 5 at the locations listed on the agenda in accordance with statutes.
Thank you, Pam. Can I get an approval of the agenda as submitted, please?
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to 6A, consideration of possible action, approval of the minutes of the meeting held on March 28th, 2024, budget workshop. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 28th.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Our first appointment, 7A, consideration possible action, update on current activities, plans, and/or actions related to Bureau of Land Management, Carson City District.
Hello, good afternoon.
Go ahead and push that little button at the bottom of the microphone. It's the red one. Yep.
Alrighty. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having us here at the Churchill County Commissioner meeting. All right, first we'll start with the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA. Some of the highlights. Carson City District is working through our process to hire a project manager for the NDAA. The BLM is awaiting an application and planning a development from Churchill County for the Sand Canyon Road. And then BLM is drafting a scope of work for the Sand Canyon Road realignment baseline surveys to support the environmental assessment. And then BLM, Nevada Department of Agriculture, and the Navy meet regularly with the affected grazing permittees. And then the BOR, BLM, Navy, and Churchill County are meeting on the Sand Canyon Road and the county conveyances this afternoon. Thank you. All right, moving on. The wild horse and burro census flights took place March and April of this year for the Stillwater, Klein Alpine, and Desatoya herd management areas, Marietta, Pine Nuts, Pilot Mountains, and the Lowhoughton, and other areas of the district. The Marietta burro gather is scheduled in August of 2024 of this year. Thank you. Alrighty, moving on, geothermal projects. We have the Dixie Meadows, and right now we're currently coordinating with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Navy, ORMAT, and on additional data needs. The Diamond Flat Exploration Project, NEPA is in progress. The Coyote Canyon Exploration Project, NEPA is in progress, and ORMAT is currently collecting baselines. Comstock Exploration Project is currently on hold until other priority projects have crossed milestones. Alrighty, moving on to SRPs, Special Recreation Permits. We have the High Desert Endurance Ride scheduled 5/1 through 5/30. It's an Esquarian event. The Vora Dogfight 250 is scheduled 5/3 through 5/5, and that is an off-highway vehicle race. Legacy Frontier 500 is scheduled 4/18, and that is an off-highway vehicle race as well. The MVDS team race is scheduled 6/22 to 2020, scheduled 6/22 through the 23rd, and that is an MX race, so a bike race. And then the Cold Springs Poker Run is scheduled 5/18, and that is an off-highway vehicle, and that is pending. And then the Vegas to Reno race, that is an off-highway vehicle race as well, and that is scheduled for 8/14 of this year. Alrighty, and then the Vero fiber optic line, currently, so the action crosses 8 counties in Nevada: Washoe, Story, Lyon, Churchill, Mineral, Nye, Esmeralda, and Clark. It's 450 miles long, buried fiber optic line. It's approximately 58 acres of a linear right-of-way through the BLM. Excuse me. And then the decision record in Fonzie, signed March 15th, 2024. And then the grant and notice to proceed is issued. Okay, and then the Green Link West is 477-mile transmission line between Reno and North Las Vegas. Spans portions of Clark, Nye, Esmeralda, Mineral, Story, and Washoe counties. And then the BLM National NEPA Register, and the link is on the PowerPoint right there on e-planning. Alrighty, and that's all the updates from the BLM from the Carson City District. Did anybody have any questions?
Any questions or comments for the BLM?
Yeah, I have a question. The properties that are up near the railroad, all BLM properties, through the Churchill County Land Act that was passed by Congress, those lands were supposed to be transferred over to Churchill County. Do you know what the time frame is for that?
Transferred over, I do not know the time frame, but I can check in on that for you and then get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Because every time I have a representative here from BLM, they don't know the answer either.
Okay.
So hopefully you'll get an answer.
Yep, I'll check in and then I'll get back with you.
All right.
Alrighty?
Any other questions or comments? I did have one to add too. Out on Alpine Road, there's some water that's running over a county road. And the rancher stated that he wants to clean the ditch and get that taken care of, but you guys are kind of throwing some things in the path. And I know you guys have your own order of operations that you guys have to follow, but
We just got that road back from Ormat. They spent almost $500,000 repairing it for us. So it'd be great if we could kind of wrap that up as fast as possible, because we don't need to be sending all of our equipment out there to fix a problem that's pretty easy fix.
Yeah.
I just want that on BLM's attention as well.
Okay, so it's a culvert that's clogged up, or?
No, it's his actual irrigation ditch itself.
it's an irrigation
It's an
ditch.
irrigation ditch
Okay.
that needs to be cleaned, but you guys have said that he can't clean it. So
Okay,
that's all I had. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you.
yep, not a problem.
Move to
And we'll look
7.
into that, Miles. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to 7B, public hearing, consideration and possible action. Bill 2024-A, Ordinance 8, an ordinance amending Title II of the Churchill County Code to prohibit the transmission of false fire alarms.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe Savin for the record. I'll give a quick introduction of some changes that I had made to this proposed ordinance based off comments made at the last meeting. Specifically, the fine portion has been amended to require that any person to be fined in this section has to have previously been determined to have violated the false alarm requirements within the last year. There's also an adopted, the resolution is next on the agenda, but I've also included in this item so that you'd be aware of what the fees would potentially look like.
Any questions or comments from board or staff? You guys want to speak on this a little bit?
Jared Dooley, Fallon Church Fire Chief. I'm really just here to answer questions if you have anything that we didn't kind of clear up last time.
Any questions or comments from board or staff?
Yeah, Jared, is this just for the county and not for the city, right?
Currently, yes.
Is there a proposal right now in front of the city?
There is no proposal in front of the city as of now.
So with most of these false alarms, are they in the county or are they in the city?
I don't know the exact numbers as to the city-county split. More are in the city, I think, due to some of the building that was going on inside of the city.
So more like sawdust was setting these off, is that?
No, I mean,
I see the list here.
yeah, there's all different manner of false alarms that kind of can be transmitted there. I looked through those numbers just to try to maybe sum them up a little bit as to the scope of the problem. And we have 22, 23, and so far what we have in 24 represented on those sheets that you see. And when you see that, there's 60 calls in the year that are false alarms that we categorize as false alarms, obviously those are between the city and the county. More might be in the city, but that represents somewhere in the neighborhood of about 19 to 20% of our total calls, which is quite a bit. And I think if you look on those sheets as well, you'll see that, they're not all kind of created the same, in that some calls can wrap up in less than an hour, and then some of those were really on scene for quite a long time. And that would have to do with, like, if we have to wait on scene for, say, Southwest Gas or somebody to do an audit for carbon monoxide or something like that, having them come on scene for that. Obviously, we can't leave that scene until we turn it over to another responsible party. So that's kind of what you're seeing there.
That wouldn't be a false alarm though, right?
No, that wouldn't. If you're having a carbon monoxide sound and alarm in your house, that's an emergency that we wouldn't consider a false alarm, no.
But with this bill, it says perceived emergency. And so burnt food, I would still call a perceived emergency and would not call that a false alarm. Because it can be, you sit there and put something in the microwave too long and it starts smoking and it can end up burning the microwave down. So,
Sure.
there are things where so I was even looking on I think it was fireengineering.com's website.
Okay,
And they said burnt popcorn is not a false alarm.
right?
Right, so looking at these here, and, I'll vote to approve this, but we have to know that perceived, that's where it kind of comes in on this bill, is anything somebody perceives as an emergency wouldn't be a false alarm. So a false alarm would be somebody sanding their drywall and the dust gets in the air, sets it off. Someone not maintaining their system, that's a false alarm. So those are types of false alarms, but burning food, I would not call a false alarm. Because it has the potential to get bad, or somebody perceived it as an emergency, so they didn't call you back in 5 minutes.
Correct.
correct?
Can I add something on that?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of, I didn't break it down to exactly, I just put burnt food, but a lot of these are like, they'll burn the toast at Highland Manor. They know that they burnt, it started smoking, know there was no fire, and then when we get there, they're like, yeah, we burnt food. They don't even want us to go to the room or anything, but they never called their fire alarm company to say that it was burnt toast. And those are some, I'd say that was a majority of the burnt food, was like, they overheat their toast and then they
It
just
was
don't
already
say
out by the
anything.
time you got there.
Yeah, and we get there and they're like, oh yeah, it's fine.
But who's going to make the call to say this was not an emergency, this was a false alarm? Is it going to be you?
At that point, it would be a duty officer, so myself or an appointed duty officer, which we would call an incident commander, which will be any number of captains that roll on a rotation for our department.
I think in my opinion, if it's going to be them doing it, I think we all you need to sit down with them all and make sure that we all have a, finite understanding that this is not, and this is, and this can be, and this cannot be, and kind of get that ironed out so it's something that's uniform, you don't need someone getting fined for it, and then 2 weeks later, someone else didn't get fined for it, because then you have a discrepancy if we're going to be finding people for it.
Yeah, we don't want to show like favoritism and things. We want to set a standard in there.
Yeah,
So-
I would totally agree with that. And great at training with our department. We do it every Wednesday, so this would be just a kind of get everybody on the same page. But I could also kind of write up an SOP. We have SOPs for everything in our department. So one of those for a duty officer as to what would constitute an actual emergency, by which we could denote that a fire or something that they thought was a fire, burnt toast, was an actual perceived emergency.
Because I looked up some of the other counties, and Washoe County has kind of a rule there, but then you get to Reno and Sparks, and they don't have one. So I think Douglas County has a plan in place, so it's all over the place. So I think it's a great idea to do an SOP, so we can standardize this, because we don't want people being fined. We want to educate people. That's the goal.
I agree with that, and I think in conjunction with this, we can do some public outreach, we can do some stuff on our Facebook page, we can do stuff at the street fair that we have every year. Yeah, I mean, I'm in total agreement. I think it is not the point of this to fine people unnecessarily.
Any other questions or comments? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I move to approve Bill 2024-A, Ordinance 8, as presented today.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Moving on to 7C, consideration possible action, adoption of Resolution 8-2024, setting a fee for the transmission of a false fire alarm. Is there any questions from board or staff?
The alarms seem to be a little high. 250, 500, and 1,000. 250 seems to be a little high.
We can change it. You want to go down to 100?
What do you guys think?
I agree. So we'll drop it to 100, 250, 500.
We want it to, for those people in a position that we would actually administer a fine like this, obviously, I would defer to your discretion here as county commissioners. I could see lowering that. I mean, as long as maybe the tier 3 is high enough to make somebody like a Highland Manor, or, without putting anybody in the headlights here, one of those people stand up and take note. Like, it has to be able to convey the right message to people who are constantly offending. in this
Yeah, and
way.
if it gets out of hand, we could always readdress it at a later date too. But I think starting off, I agree with Buzz and dropping the fines.
But furthermore, this is within a year. This is just like a 1-year time
1 year
period.
thing.
And so, I mean, if you're setting off a false fire alarm 3 times in 1 year and you haven't learned by then,
As far as the fire department's concerned here, I appreciate all of your remarks in this way. If this is something, like you say, that gets out of hand later, where, people feel like it's not being administered fairly across the board, or people feel like those fines are too high, or or maybe we can return and look at some of that. I guess I would be open to that, but like you said, it's 3 times in a year is even some of these.
And the first one's a
And the
written
first one
warning.
is, yeah, it's just a warning, so really you're talking.
And that's
the
going to be a
fourth
warning
time.
that they say, if that does happen
But
again.
the goal is also not for them to remove the system or turn it off. So,
The goal's not to do that, but I
It
mean,
does save lives. That's the point of having them, right?
Yes, they do. Obviously, the flip side of that is a lot of these alarms can, this is something we say in fire safety all the time, you don't want to call the police department or the fire department when there's not an alarm because you're taking that response away from somebody who has an alarm,
How do you
somebody who
guys
has
feel
a need.
about 100, 250, and 500?
I agree with that, Buzz.
I agree with that.
Okay, any other questions or comments from board or staff? Any public comment? Can I get a motion with that change in it, please?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 8, 2024, as presented, with fines being 100, 250, and 500.
I second the change.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Did anyone want to pull any of the letters received? No letters received. We'll move on to new business. 9A, consideration of possible action, reappointment of Ernie Shank to the TDR Sending Site Review Committee for another term expiring June 30th, 2027. Is Chris?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chris Spross, Assistant County Manager, Churchill County, for the record. So the Churchill County Sending Site Review Committee reviews all of the transfer of development rights applications, evaluates local entity comments, conservation easement deed, proposed restriction, and verifies the TDRs. Member Ernie Shank's term ends on June 30th, 2024, but he's expressed a desire to serve another term. Mr. Shank serves as one of the agricultural representative positions on the committee. Since he meets the qualifications, has the experience, and provides a good balance to the committee, staff recommends that he be appointed to serve another 3-year term on the TDR Sending Site Review Committee. This recommendation is being made with consideration that the applicant has a clear understanding of the duties and responsibilities related to this position.
Any questions or comments from board or staff? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I move to reappoint Ernie Shank to serve another 3-year term on the TDR Sending Site Review Committee effective July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2027.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. 9B, consideration of possible action, reappointment of Tara Price and Ashley McGarity to the Library Board of Trustees to fill another term ending June 30th, 2028. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chris Spross again for the record. The Churchill County Library Board is a governing board appointed by the Board of County Commissioners, authorized and directed to make recommendations to provide oversight and direction to the Churchill County Library. The Library Board is comprised of 5 members who serve 4-year terms. Tara Price was appointed to the Library Board of Trustees to fill an unexpired term starting July 1st, 2023. Ashley McGarity was appointed to the board with a term starting July 1st, 2020. Both candidates have expressed a desire to remain on the board. C.L. Quillen, the library director, would like to have them continue to serve on the board as well. Recommendation is being made to reappoint Tara Price and Ashley McGarity to fill another term through June 30th, 2028.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions or comments from board or staff? Is there any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Tara Price Gritzmacher and Ashley McGarity to fill another term of Library Board Trustees through June 30th, 2028.
Second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. 9C, consideration of possible action, reappointment of Peggy Hughes and Andrew Howells to the Churchill County Advisory Board to manage wildlife to serve another term from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2027. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, Chris Spross for the record. So the county advisory boards to manage wildlife are appointed by county commissioners from all 17 Nevada counties to serve 3-year terms. The county advisory boards to manage wildlife are responsible for advising the Nevada Wildlife Commission, particularly with the setting of seasons and limits for their respective counties. Members on the CAB should be selected with the intent to provide representation from a cross-section of the county to ensure that all major viewpoints are examined and that any faction or special interest group does not dominate the CAB. Churchill County Advisory Board to manage wildlife consists of 5 members serving 3-year terms. 2 positions have terms expiring June 30th, 2024. One of those positions is held by Peggy Hughes, and she's expressed desire to continue serving. The other position is held by Andrew Howells, and he has expressed desire to continue serving. The county manager has reviewed these requests and recommends that both be reappointed. Peggy Hughes serves as the chair of the board, and both appear to be well prepared to serve another 3-year term. Both have a clear understanding of the duties and responsibilities related to this position. Chair Peggy Hughes is in support of the reappointment of Mr. Howells.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions or comments from board or staff? Any public comment? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
I move to reappoint Peggy Hughes and Andrew Howells to serve another 3-year term on the Churchill County Advisory Board to manage wildlife, effective July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2027.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Did anyone want to pull anything off the consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed.
Second it.
It's moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Did anyone want to have anything they wanted to consider for the future agenda? Okay, commissioner and management staff reports. Go ahead and start with you, Justin.
This week I attended Stillwater Conservation meeting and Lahan Conservation.
Buzz?
I'm going to the Carson Water Subconservancy District meeting tonight. That's about it.
I had a fire board meeting, a cemetery board meeting, then as well as RTC this morning. Sherry?
The comptroller's office submitted the tentative budget to taxation, and now we're working on changes for the final. That's all I have. Thank you.
Joe?
No updates on my end.
Chris?
Nothing for me.
Pam?
Nothing for me either.
Making this easy today, okay. Claims and payroll, public comment at this time. Okay, we stand adjourned. Thank you, guys.
That was quick.